finally! This is how's the levels? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's good.
Right. So probably bring it a little closer to you lah.
It's okay. I can adjust it.
All audio engineer know how to deal with miking. Yeah, a little lower because when it's high up like that, then they're like, it's like blocking the face.
Yeah, you
like
can't
that.
see.
It feels so impersonal like that. Yeah. Hey dog, this one cannot see, right? No leak questions. Yeah. Cool. This one has been a long time coming, this session.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you for coming here, Michelle. It's good to see you again after such a long time. Because in the last time you came to KL back here in Malaysia, was still doing MCO?
No.
After MCO already.
After MCO already, I was practically stuck.
Yeah.
For 3 years overseas.
I can imagine, man. And then, but I'm very fortunate that you're here today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
tried to
having
make this
me.
happen for so long, and then finally I got you here.
Yeah.
I mean, my little simple podcast where
I wouldn't say simple, don't put it that way.
where maybe only 4 or 5 people listening.
No, I think it's quite a lot of people listening. Sometimes I do listen as well.
Okay, very cool. I appreciate that. Yeah. So maybe let's start, all right? Maybe you can introduce yourself, let the viewers and listeners know who you are, what you do.
Sure. So hi, my name is Michelle. Well, I used to be a producer for musicals, stage shows, theatres, and also post-production work. Currently, I'm not working at the moment. So I'm based in Spain and just back to KL for holiday.
When I heard you were back here, I was like, I had to get this opportunity to come and grab
Oh,
you.
gee. No lah.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, obviously because one of the reasons I started this podcast was because during MCO there was nothing to do. That's the main reason. Right, but I found it fascinating, for me at least, to talk to people who I consider colleagues and peers, right? Engineers, producers, musicians, maybe even like event managers, business music managers, and that's all, people who are behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Because I feel this kinship, I feel this comradeship between people like us. You see.
I think it is what we used to do, I mean, even without podcasts, we do go out and lepak, and just chit-chat among the industry people.
Yeah.
And this is why we have all these meetups in the beginning to start with, because I too enjoy meeting people. And to be frank, I learned a lot from you guys. Because you guys are from different industry, not say different industry, but different sector of this industry. Okay, some of them you are related to what I do as well.
Yeah.
And we always network and share ideas, help each other out, And that's a great way to begin any work, any job.
And we can get down to talk about what are the things that we share in common. AS is the thing that we share in common.
Yes.
I want to highlight, the spotlight is on you. But the other side, besides the networking thing that we do, which is so awesome, which is great, is that I sort of want to document a lot of the stories of of the people who've passed, I've crossed throughout my career, right? People that are my peers, my colleagues, some who are even upcoming younger engineers. I've even had some of my former interns now who now have their own careers, and even my teachers. My lecturers like Jennifer Thompson, Greg Henderson, who used to mentor me and teach me, and just to listen to their stories, document how they came up to the industry, and hopefully, we will be able to impart these lessons, these career lessons down to, people who, younger generations who want to study, who want to get into this field. So it's lessons like
this conversation is gold. It's really gold. And like you said, since you have it on records or whatever, people can always listen back and learn. And this is a good thing. And podcast is the next thing now.
I hardly listen to music nowadays. Most of the time, when I turn on Spotify, it's podcast anyway.
Yeah.
But it's also a sign of becoming becoming old, becoming uncle already, lah. You know,
Yeah.
not listening to music. It's like back in my days. No, now it's like music nowadays. No. That sort of thing. So that's why I listen to podcasts, lor. So maybe, I always like to start, with my guests to sort of dig a little bit into their past, back in, let's say, like, what led you towards, this path in the first place, I mean,
I
back in
think
your childhood, were you, was your family was it
that's
musically oriented?
that's the weird part about me. I don't have like family members or something that influenced me to like music. It just somehow grew in me. And since I was very, very young, I wanted to, when you watch movies, you watch shows, you want to be like them. You want to be on the stage. But then I started at a young age. I know that I don't have the looks and I don't have the voice. So if you don't have the looks and you don't have the voice, what would you do? And I thought, you know what? I want to be the person to make that person shine. So instead of being in front, I want to be at the back. And I remember as I was growing up, because I studied Chinese school, so we do have, at that time in the 90s, we were very fortunate that we have a lot of all these, now they call it idols, okay, to actually encourage or infuse music into young hearts. So we have a lot of concerts, during charity work or whatever. We have all these artists coming over. And from there, I learned from them and admire them, especially singer-songwriters, composers. And one of them that I really, really like was Michael and Victor.
Yeah.
光良、品冠.
Yeah.
And Guang Liang, one of them, is actually an audio engineer, graduate. And I remember reading about his autobiography and everything. And I was like, hey, that's cool. I can actually, make music and help someone else instead of me trying to force myself to be on the stage. So that's when I note down on my note, audio engineering. And I remember, I think about 9 or 10 years old, we used to have like education section in the newspaper where they talk about what kind of courses, what kind of school that you can go to. And I have that one article about that particular school that I want to go to, School of Audio Engineering. And I cut that article out and I kept that article until I graduated high school.
Wow.
And I remember that was Form 5 and I still had that article. And it was just right before SPM. I know I'm going to graduate soon. And we were starting to like go to education fair, searching for the courses that you want to go next. I picked up the article and I started dialing the phone number. But that was like years ago. And they shifted, And I was like dialing them. I was like, I'm trying to find the school. I can't find it. So in the end, they moved. So I did eventually collected information and went into the course. I was very, very lucky.
Yeah.
But of course, typical Asian family, they wouldn't want their children to be part of music.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a struggle in the beginning. And I wasn't, how do you say, I don't have a music background. I did study piano when I was a kid, but that was like after begging my dad for a long time. And halfway through learning, the school actually shut down. And they still owe me 1 month of lessons. So after that, it's even harder to convince my parents to say, let me go for music.
Yeah.
They'll be like, it's just a waste of money.
Yeah.
No, you should just become a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant, for example.
The typical expectations.
Yeah. So for me to get into music, like I said, I was doing all the research, right? I did a full presentation.
Wow.
I went to all the universities and colleges, all the courses, and then I did like a plan, like how much I need to study, how much money I need, how long do I need to study, and what career path I have. And I did all of that presentation. In the end, of course, we went for the cheapest and I went for my dream. So that's how I got in the whole audio thing. Yeah.
I love that story because I relate to it so much.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, I admire you. Like you had that article when you were 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
I only figured it out only like when I was in around SPM.
Every kid's like the teacher was like ask you like write down your ambition, the
apa tu?
karangan.
Cita-cita kamu.
Cita-cita kamu, what's your ambition, the karangan. I had write it in 3 languages, So in the end, it's so into my head that I want to be this. And I'm glad that I actually follow my dream.
Yeah.
It's not many people that actually say you want to be what you want when you're a kid, and then you actually be what you want when you grow up.
Yeah.
And I did that.
I remember my answer, your tiga top 3 cita-cita was always doctor, jurutera, scientist.
Yeah.
These were the top 3. It's like the cliche. Every kid was answering that. So, to have something that would be, your teacher will be wondering, what's wrong with this?
Yeah. Especially during our age, there was not many, either you go into full music or you go into full engineering. There's no in between.
Yeah.
And for me to actually go to an engineering department in a college and ask them, do you have audio engineering? They look at me and say, what are you asking about? We have civil engineering, we have mechanical engineering, but we don't have audio engineering.
Yeah.
You never heard before.
Yeah.
And that, or you go into, at that time, there was no fine arts. They have mass communication. That was the second option.
Yeah.
Of course, I couldn't go into the music school because I don't have a music background.
Yeah.
So that deterred me from another option again. Yeah. So I was glad I was able to choose what I wanted.
Right, correct. So this was SAE lah, of course, right? School of Audio Engineering. This would be in the year
2000,
2001,
2002. Yeah.
So by that time already, they had already the location of SAE was in Subang, right?
Yeah.
But even there also, they originally they was in one place and then they moved to another place.
The original
right?
place was in Taipan, and then after that they moved further up.
Correct.
So I'm still the old wine generation.
Wine, yeah.
And the last batch of pure audio before they started mixing with media.
I mean, of course, we could always sidetrack into what has happened to it now, but that can be a topic for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So SAE in 2000, so that was a diploma, right?
Yes, an advanced diploma, and then you can further study to Australia or UK. But I didn't want to jump straight away to Australia. I was offered a position to study there, but I didn't want to straight away go into it because I feel like I should do more practical work first, at least for a year.
Yeah.
Learn something, learn in the industry, and then pick my niche of what I want to major in. So that's why I decided to stop there and then continue working and just explore.
Yeah. So right after you finished, right, you graduated from SAE, then what was your next move?
To be an engineer.
Yeah.
Of course, to be an audio engineer.
So your first job was at?
My first job was not being an engineer. It's funny enough, it's not. I went through a lot of interviews, but at that time, how do you say, the industry is still very male dominant.
Yes, yeah.
Despite that, I have met a lot of people, had some connections and all, but they always still see me as a female. And I like to do things which is crazy. Like I want to become for example, a location sound engineer.
Yeah.
It's like, to give me reasons like, I can't see you going out in the forest, shooting for 40 days. It's too tough for a girl. And I want to be a live sound engineer. And they said like, I care for you too much, like my daughter, but I can't imagine you sleeping on the floor with the other engineers.
With the crew.
The crew.
And all that, yeah.
And I also even have interviews questions like, do your parents know that you're going to work late a lot?
Right.
And this kind of like, wait, what kind of questions are these? If I'm not ready for the industry, if I not know the work, I will not even bother studying it.
Yeah.
And of course, my college has given me enough knowledge and experience to know that you need to do all this kind of work. And all I need to do now is to have an opportunity to step out of that protection zone and to learn. But I'm getting all these kind of questions. And I even get very technical questions all the time. Like, what's the sampling rate for CDs? All these things.
Yeah.
But compared to my other colleagues or my classmates, they'll be like, so when would you like to start? 5 minutes interview and they got the job. And me will be like half an hour with all the technical questions and stuff.
Yeah.
So that made me realize that it's still hard in the beginning to walk into this field.
Yeah.
And because of straight away what you are, they already put out a barrier without looking further or even trying out. So that's where I was like a little bit disappointed, just a little bit sad. And during that time, I was offered to be the lecturer as well in my school. But I felt like I wasn't ready to be a lecturer. I mean, I just graduated. Yes, I graduated with distinction. I know the stuff. But how am I to teach a bunch of people who are much senior than me and much more working experience than me?
In terms of age.
Not just in terms of age, also working experience. Because I don't have working experience. I feel that, yes, I know that in terms of technical, in terms of knowledge, I have more than them. But I feel they have more to teach me than me teaching them in return. So I kind of rejected that position. So I started working as admin, system admin, just looking after studios and stuff. And during that time, I found an opportunity. They were looking for production assistant for theatre. And I went and jumped onto it. And to my surprise, that I actually did not even enter the office for after maybe 2 months later. Because my first day of job is to pack my bags and travel.
Yeah.
Because I was traveling with a musical from London, West End musical. So that's where I started to have the passion towards theatre work.
Yeah.
So I started with that, being a producer. At the end of that, I was a creative producer. We started creating shows in theatres and programs for children. And then after that, I went into video production, then to audio production. So that's how the path crossed.
So I would really be curious actually, how did you actually get that first so-called break into the theatre side of things? But back, you had already been working as a studio admin for a while. And then how did you get a break? Because
that was only two to 3 weeks actually.
Wow.
Being assistant admin, I was still like 2 to 3 weeks in the job, and then I saw an article requesting, and for me it's like, in that time it was a very famous musical that I liked as a kid.
Yeah, West End.
It's Annie the Musical.
Oh, Annie.
And I watched it growing up, and I'm so familiar with the songs and everything. So I was like, that must be the chance. I had to go for it. But I didn't know it was from West End. I thought it was a local production.
Oh, right.
But when I took on the job, and then I realized how big scale it was. It was an international production. And literally all my cast is from UK. The A-list UK artists. And then I also have some local talents, which is the children's. And then I have to work with a bunch of crews locally as well. And I didn't know that time I was in charge of the whole project. So that was a skill that I wasn't prepared for, but I have to learn along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, PAs, production assistants.
Yeah.
They literally keep the whole operation going. I'm sure there were a few, or were you the only one? There were a few.
There was only 2 of us.
There was only 2. Wow, only 2.
Only 2 of us. So it was me and another senior of mine.
Yeah.
And even though she was like senior, but she was like 3 months older than me in the job. So that was also her first project.
Wow.
And both of us are very, very fresh into theatre.
Yeah.
So we really just bang on every nail doing all the mistake, falling down on all the obstacles to get that experience of doing it, so we can do better the next one.
Yeah, I can imagine. How long was this run of
The show itself? It's about a month, including rehearsal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 28 shows per show, so per musical. So including rehearsal, it's about a month and a half. So I was completely away from home.
Yeah.
And then I came back 2 months later and be first time sitting in my own chair in the office, preparing for the next one.
Can't even begin to imagine how's that like.
Yeah, because we don't just handle the show, we also handle literally almost everything. Of course, we're going to work with the local organizer, whereby we also involve in the ticketing sales, handling of the VIPs, the marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, we are involved partially as well. And also, we also do merchandising. And of course, taking care of the crews and everything. And because it's one of the first few production where you have the local crew working with the international crew.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting exchange when you see that local crew, you have your ways of doing things, and then you have an international crew that they do what they do best. And they're trying to get connected between each other, the message through. And you are standing in between, holding both hands and trying to wiggle things out,
Yeah.
And that is a very, very interesting thing for me. And also partially why I still miss musical a lot is the whole process from the beginning to the end. It's like a lady being pregnant for 9 months. And then when you give birth, you just cry. All you do is just cry because it's like you see something just come out beautifully for you.
Yeah. The final output, that creation, and through the whole process, the whole struggle.
Yes, the whole struggle.
Both emotional, mental, physical.
Yeah, the hours you put in, the stress you put in, from something that you seem it's impossible to happen. In the end, it happened perfectly. It's like a...
What would you say would be the, some of the most important lessons that you have? I can imagine it being multidisciplinary because you have to learn so many aspects of the thing. What would you say what was the main benefit that came out of it?
Ability to adapt and being multitask.
Yeah.
Meaning a multitasker, because you have so much things going on, and all of this is not something that you can plan. You may have plan A, plan B, plan C, but always something will happen that is not in your plan, and you need to learn to adapt. You need to learn to react fast to it. And that happens on a daily basis, and every hour, different things. So for me, going through that process, I learned a lot. In one project alone, I will learn things that maybe may take me 2 to 3 years to learn in other job.
Right.
Because it was so hands-on. It was so, the dynamic of things changes. It's so fast and vast. So you just get it straight away on the spot. Every day is a new thing. It's a new lesson.
That's incredible. For me, I don't think I can. I'm so content being in the studio environment that I hardly even do live sound, only when special requests. So I can't imagine how it would be like. You really need to be someone who's really, agile on your feet, not in the literal sense, but to, be able to adapt and do all these different things. Yeah, and all that.
It was tough. It was really tough, but I'm also very blessed that I got that experience because what I learned from the job, it did brought me throughout the years, So all the tears, all the sweat is worth it, And at the time, it's like, why is this happening to me? But after that, it does carry on. The skill, it's always there.
Yeah.
No matter what job you do, it's just different subject. The skills are still applicable to it.
Yeah.
So I was very happy that I took the job, and I did quite a lot of musicals in the end as well. We also created our own musical, and that was another heartache. I'll talk it about next time. But
Yeah.
the experience was really great. And it did, in a way, it was my first job. And like I mentioned to you, like in the beginning, like people don't recognize me because of my capability, but just seeing me on the surface.
Yeah.
But after that couple of projects and interaction with some people,
Yes. Yeah.
I can say that in the industry, I've never need to look for a job. The job always come to me. So
Yeah.
that was a blessing. You know, that was a really, really, really a blessing. No one need to see my resume. I will always be offered a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, it's I guess at the end of the day, it's kind of worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, on hindsight, yeah, definitely. You know, it's you know, it has. You've been through the whole experience. You equip yourself, you know, to be with all these skills, which, you know, again, so you're just on call without having to.
The weirdest request you would get.
Yeah. But at least you don't have to sit through 30-minute interviews asking you whether you can do the job.
I actually had a very weird interview. That was my first interview and it was a weird one. But it got me the job. So I guess,
it worked out.
It worked out in the end.
Yeah. So how long was that, you know, in theater? How long were you in that sector?
I think I was like 3 years, 4 years, 4 years in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
then after that,
unfortunately,
where did
the company didn't make it in the end. So that's when I went into, I also did another musical. And then as a freelance.
Yeah.
And then I did another, then I went into audio post-production.
Yeah.
Video post-production first. Video production and video post-production. That's where I learned more stuff on video.
Right.
I mean, my background is audio.
Yeah.
For me to learn a whole new thing on video, it's completely different thing.
Yeah.
But it is also as interesting.
Yeah, but how would one? I can't imagine how one that, you know, if I was from an audio engineering background to pivot to go into video.
Yeah, I know it's also another. I guess it was again a blessing opportunity that I got from. I had a friend working in video production, and they were looking like a production assistant, like just a freelance. And I decided, okay, you know what? I finished my contract. I have free time. Let me help you.
Right.
You know, I'm sure I can do production work, not a problem. So it was just basically a production assistant, of course. Not much different from what I used to do.
Right.
It's just, again, like a subject is different. So I took care of the stuff. And
the medium was different.
Yeah, the medium was different. But the work is similar. The work is similar. And then from there, and then I was later on offered a permanent position in the company. So that was again another blessing because I've done work with them and they know what I can do. And I became a producer in video production. Interesting to do commercial videos, corporate videos. And from there, I also learned, because when you do video, you always have audio aspect as well.
Yeah.
So there again, I pick up on audio side. And we work together. We also did events as well.
Yeah.
Videos for events. So eventually my event management background also helped in when managing events. Yeah.
So that's great. Like, again, all the skills you've picked up.
Yeah, it's all transferable. Like I said, it's just the medium or subject is different. But the skill is always similar.
Yeah.
So if you learn how to, like I said, you need to learn how to adapt. So if you learn how to adapt, you know how to just shift it. And it's all connected.
Right.
Because when you have audio, you would when you have visual, you would definitely have audio.
Yeah.
You can't run away from that. So it's always interconnected. And that's where you can do a lot of things as well.
Yeah. I think that's a very important takeaway, you know, especially nowadays for anyone who's graduating from these kind of courses. I mean, the number of jobs are not that many in the first place, you know, unless, you know, so sometimes you may have to have that courage and that ability to say that, okay,
Yeah.
maybe a studio job's not for me because that's not available. Maybe I have to go to broadcast or
Yes.
go to video or something like
I've
that.
been sharing this in a lot of my talks before this.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people have a dream.
Yes.
Okay, like me, I wanted to be a recording engineer. But when I came in, I didn't have the opportunity to do that. But other doors opened for me.
Yeah.
And even though this industry seems very specific, but there is a lot of branches that you can go out from. So even with the knowledge of audio, you can do location sound,
Yeah.
shooting movies. Okay, you could do recording engineer. Okay, producing music. You can become a live sound engineer, doing events and concerts. Okay, these days you can even have medical sector using the knowledge of audio.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
you could do even studio designs. Okay, acoustic designs, not just for studios but also for home.
Yeah.
Okay, halls, exhibitions.
Yeah.
And then you got broadcasting. Okay, and after that, with all of this, they must always have someone to be selling the equipment. Then you get
Yeah.
the sales part.
Retail. Yeah.
Retail,
Correct. Raw audio retail and all that.
Yeah, it's going to go branch and branch and branch out. And there's so much opportunity. It's just that, are you willing to open up yourself to all this opportunity, or do you just want to stick on one place?
Yeah.
And in this generation, last time you can say that, okay, we're going to do pure audio. Okay, but technology is growing. Things are getting wider and vast that you can put yourself into. These days, you don't even need to have audio engineering background or skills or knowledge, but one can also produce a music video or any video formatter. Okay, and with the recent years, I even realized that you don't even need to be a musician to be a composer,
Yeah.
because all you need to know is coding. And that was a very interesting thing for me. I was like, okay, so what I think before, like my olden days, is like, oh, you have to learn piano, you have to learn guitar, you must know music knowledge in order to write a song. These days, no.
Right. Yeah. It's sometimes a bit hard to grasp, to wrap my head around how different things are and how the whole whatever industry has evolved. I mean, traditionally, the traditional path has always been get into you whether you graduate or whether you work up, from the ranks of being like a runner or an assistant, that kind of thing, and then the path always ends up you being specializing in something, right? You specialize as a recording engineer, you specialize in this. It seems now, right, and that it's very hard, not just in terms of the actual pathway, but in terms of to cari makan also.
Yes.
The practical side of things is that you need to be very versatile in all your skills. And I don't know whether you were you there when we interviewed Phil Tan. There was one of the questions I actually posed to him, and this was exactly the same thing he said. He's very lucky that he's had the opportunity to specialize, to be a mixer, right, to be a mixing engineer. But for anyone who's graduating out of wherever, like SAE, Full Sail, or any other audio college that's out there right now, it's hard to just.
You see, between you and me alone, we can say we are almost in the same generation coming out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was around 99, 2000.
We wanted to specialize in something. Okay. But you got to be specialized in something, and I end up what I call myself as, jack of all trades, master of none. I can put myself in a lot of position, in a lot of jobs, and I can do. But do I specialize in one item? No, I can't say that.
Yeah.
So I have the knowledge and understanding of audio, but I cannot become an engineer. But I can sit down next to an engineer and tell the engineer what I want because I have that knowledge.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference. And for me, it's like I said, you can also see a lot of people that goes into this industry, and a lot of them drop out in the end.
Yeah.
Because you can't cope. When you can't cope, you can't change as well. So you need to able to move around. And these days, because of technology is going through so fast, more and more things coming out, more and more new technology, new tools to help us to do a lot of things. And you are actually fighting with more and more people to do the same thing as well.
Yeah.
So either do you master it or do you try to adapt to it? These days, if you look into a job portal, they will not look for one thing. They will always tell you, you must know how to edit video. You need to how to do social media. You need to how to do audio as well. All these things. But how do you get the job if you say, I only do audio?
But still pay you the same salary for one.
Exactly.
That's besides the point.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So it's still a debate to be specialized or not.
Yeah.
Okay. I would always encourage people to, focus on one thing if you can. But also have the heart to open for other stuff. Because in some way, you still need to bend a little bit. You still need to know certain things in order for you to able to even communicate with other people.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you specialize on something, you make sure you really be the top. And again, 100 people, how many people can be the top? That is only a small number of people. So again, opportunity, chances, and how far you can go.
All these things, all these things need to align if you were to, want to go down that particular path.
Yeah.
So
if you hit it there, go for it.
then go for it, yeah.
Go for it. If you realize that you're banging so many doors and you can't enter, try to, I would say, instead of dropping out, move other place so that you there is so much way that you can contribute to the industry.
Yeah. Be flexible. I mean, it's an overused word these past few years. Pivot. Know how to pivot. Yeah. Don't be a ship that's heading straight for the iceberg and just, you can turn,
It actually is a chain reaction as well. To me, for example, if everyone joined audio engineering, all their dream is to just open a studio and be a recording engineer. Let me ask you, what about events? Who is going to do the events? Who is going to sell you who will be specializing in the tools and stuff?
Yeah.
Who is going to train you on new technology? You have to branch out. Someone has to do something different in order. And again, it's interconnected, So whatever music you produce will still end up on stage. So you still need the expertise on stage. And it's interconnected. So if you stick yourself into one place, the industry will not grow also.
Yeah.
You still need someone to produce music.
Yeah.
You need to find an artist. You need your publishing company. You need your record labels. Okay, you need your private and government sector to give you funds and sponsorship.
Yes, exactly.
It's all connected. That way only the industry will grow.
Yeah. That's the only way it flourished. You want to create a healthy industry, healthy ecosystem that has to have the diversity in there as well.
Yes.
Let's move on then, right, to after you mentioned that you also went to audio post and then audio post for...
So audio post, after video, I went on to audio post production. Well, actually, in between, I started my own company with talent management. So I was looking for talents. Basically, I go to underground shows, go to schools and just listen out for bands and musicians and try to help them, bring them into recording. I also manage like talents for events. So I have a lot of models working for me, just on my business part. And then in the end, I decided to go back to audio. So I was an audio producer. So I produce, mainly my sector was producing on movies and also animation, game, things like that.
So that was kind of like, a little bit of circle to get you back into that?
It's a huge circle.
Yeah.
I still come back in the end to the audio. And there was like, finally I did something with audio. And it's fun. But after audio part, I kind of like venture out from it. Yeah.
Correct. I've known you for all this while. Of course, you've also been in the corporate side of things
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, but my heart is always with audio. I mean, it's still my core love. I still enjoy. Sometimes I get excited when I read an article about new technology or, medical stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, we could have done that. It's interesting to know. That's why I always keep connected with people around the industry.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to put into context, last time you said, it was in the back of my mind when you said you looked at the article from a newspaper. You actually last time have to look at, was it still Yellow Pages last time, or we got website already?
No, there was no website.
There was no website.
There was no website.
So how do you have to find the contact number of?
It was in the article itself. Like they were talking about what audio engineering courses is about, and they will have like the school name and the address. It was still in PJ at that time, and the phone number still 7 digits. So it was that article, and for me, I think it's interesting because you always see an artist or a band like up front, but you never understand what's going on behind the process of how they started writing a song, how they go into a studio, what made them sound so good, are all the hard work of the engineers, okay? And the musicians, how they produce this music. This is, I would say, underrated. No one care. No one think about it. Everyone think about how great this artist is, how great he sound like. But the works is also as important as his end result.
Yep. Yeah. And that's why I love to highlight this lah. First of all, listening to stories, by doing some of my own content as well. I plug my own content in this podcast. Supposed to be plugging you, Yeah. So throughout all your experiences in your careers lah, I mean, you did mention some of the obstacles and challenges, but what would you say would be the positive, and what would be some of the negatives that you've experienced personally?
Positive and negative.
Yeah, let's start with all the positive things first. Yeah.
To actually sustain in this industry, you must have a lot of passion. Without passion, you can't do anything. So on the positive side, I think at the end of the day, it's more about what you dream of and the dream comes true. And the satisfaction from seeing the fruit of what of your labor is, it's very satisfying. Despite of all the other jobs that I've done that is non-audio related, I don't get that satisfaction. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, yay, I finished my project. But I don't get that kind of overwhelming like victory, that joy, that, how do you say, that I'm so proud of what I've done. I don't get that.
Yeah.
And
100%.
that to me is the biggest takeaway for being in this industry. Okay. And to do that, you must have passion.
Yeah.
You must have patience. At the end of the day, when you succeed in one thing, this doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
I have probably been through the worst compared to other people. If I were to share my experience, you would think that I'm probably lying to you or I'm exaggerating the story to you, but that was what I've been through.
Yeah.
Okay. But the positive end, it's that satisfaction. And the skill that I've learned, the soft skill, the hard skill, everything was still applicable to any other job that I do. Despite I don't even have the job experience or background or knowledge in the job that I do, but because of my experience, it has been proven many times that I was able to do the job, deliver the job, despite it was a different thing.
Yeah.
Because of the skills that I have. And I would say it's like all the training is worthwhile. And it can be seen in other aspect.
Yeah.
So if in case really this industry doesn't work for you, don't be sad, because I feel like all the skills that you learn is still applicable in other jobs and also in fact, in your life.
Yeah.
You know, I was teaching before this also in Summer Business School. I was teaching budgeting and events management, and all my students were like corporate people. They are usually from either the finance team or they are from the marketing team, sales and marketing team, most of them. But why are you learning budgeting? I'm not from finance, but because of my experience managing all of this project, I need to know budgeting. Okay. And that helped me to actually pass on my knowledge to other people. And with that, again, it's a completely different sector, but I could pass on the knowledge. And in life, daily life as well, you could even use these skills. Yeah, so I think that's the positive part of it.
Nice. I want to sort of take us on another corner now, but you alluded to it actually earlier, right? You did mention, as we all know, well, this industry of ours is a very, heavily biased towards the male gender, right? It's pretty much still now a male-dominated industry. And although now in 2022, we've made quite a bit of like leaps and strides compared to what it was, right, in the past, it's still undoubtedly very, very male-dominated lah. I mean, I would love to hear what your thoughts are, if you have got personal experiences. You mentioned earlier about your challenges getting in the first place.
I think in the beginning when we first started, the world was changing already, but it was in the beginning of the change.
Yeah.
And I was at the beginning of it. So it took me a little bit more struggle. To be frank, during the time when I was studying, we had like 35 students in my class, and we only have 5 female. So you can see the difference between the male and the female being in this industry. And in the end, when I started, I probably know about 4 female engineers that's in the industry. It takes a lot to get in, or more harder to get in. But once you are in, you stay, and these engineers, female engineers, are still today in the industry and still one of the few top ones. And I was saying when it was a change. So right after that, probably 5 years down the road, you start to get more and more female interested being an engineer. So you start to see more female engineers now in the studios. And with my experience working with so many engineers, I would say still I prefer working with a female engineer because their work is always much more organized and detailed. That is a huge difference. But the industry has slowly been changing, and it's been kinder to women now.
Yeah.
So that I think is a very, very good thing, and it's good to see that female engineers have a chance to be in this industry. But of course, like you say, it's still very male dominant, but you actually get the chance to see more female now than compared to before.
Absolutely.
In fact, Malaysia is actually quite slow. When I first graduated, at that time in the West, there was already a lot of female engineers.
Yeah.
They were more accepting already. But it took time for us in Malaysia to go through that phase. Even, in fact, not just engineers. Like I told you, I went through a lot of obstacles during my work as well. Even as a producer, I was discriminated before because of my gender. I have people telling me, you're not supposed to be in the meeting. But as a project manager, I should be.
Yeah.
But the guy told me, you should just make a coffee and go. This kind of things is like, come on, we are in the 20s, you're still giving me this kind of comment. It's like, what kind? It's sad. It's just that we still have this huge gap of the traditional mindset and the modern mindset. We don't have the in-between. The in-between is just both of us being stuck, trying to gauge these two together.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, it's very unfortunate because this is the thing that really stop our industry from growing. You know, I mean, we just came out of MCO. Okay, I started to see end of last year and this year starting to have more activities, more events, more shows, and more concerts.
Yep.
To me, it's a sign that the industry is back, the industry is growing. And it's happy to see that because my friends are getting jobs now, which is great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you still have people trying to stop all of this thing happening. I mentioned to you earlier on, it's all a chain.
Yeah.
Okay. To grow this industry, we cannot have one party. We need to have multiple people supporting. Again, government sector, private sector, you know, all of this have to help each other to grow. And sadly enough that we still have people who just want to monopolize the industry, want to have it on their own. But when they take it, they don't grow it. They just want to control it.
Yeah.
And that kills a lot of opportunity for other people.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. I think definitely, you know, we can definitely think of some names, some acronyms or some subgroups, and which we shall not mention.
I hope everyone who listens this podcast today, you know, able to just open up the mind a little bit and think about it. You know, in the end, a growth in the industry is a growth for you. It's an opportunity for you. You know, of course, you want more business. You want to be able to do more stuff. You need to produce more stuff, but work together and grow.
Yeah.
Not saying that, hey, you know, he's my competitor. I don't want to work with him. You know, I want to beat him.
Yeah.
It's not a healthy challenge.
Correct. Yeah. You know.
No, I rather have a positive challenge, positive attitude to say, hey, you are doing this project. I want to do another project, which I will do it better than you.
Yeah.
You know, that way you get higher standard, and eventually, of course, as a studio, your rates will go higher as well.
Yeah.
It's a good thing at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's always a good thing. I mean, it's also the mentality of, you know, it's what we call famine mentality. It's like, oh, there's so limited resources and opportunities that I must grab everything for me. You know?
The opportunity is out there, you know.
Actually, so it's
Malaysia actually have a lot of talents. But what is sad is our talents are not remaining in the country. Our talents are going overseas. Because why? Overseas actually look upon our talent and nurture them, give them opportunity.
Yeah.
In Malaysia, we'll be like, no, suppress them, make them stay at home, you know, do whatever we want them to do. You're not giving them chance to grow. When they grow, the country grow as well.
Like, absolutely, 100%.
You know, it's very sad that even an artist to get popular, one has to go to China. You know, one has to go to US to grow. And then when they are famous, only they come back to Malaysia.
Yeah.
Why? Why can't they grow in Malaysia, be popular? You know, like in the 90s, we have so many famous artists. Okay, we're so popular in Malaysia where they got so much recognition when they go overseas as well. Why can't we do that these days? You know, this is, to me, it's like sad.
Well, someone figure out an answer. Please let me know, okay?
I think one thing is so important that, like even what we're doing today, we are sharing. Okay, you're kind of giving information and knowledge to other people through your podcast. And for me, I also firm believer of, you know, when you gain something, you should also share it out. So I was very blessed that while I was studying and while I was in this industry, a lot of people has been helping me, has been sharing with me. And I would love to also take this opportunity to share with other people. And I think people should do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I don't think it's a lot to give back to the community. But I do know people will be like, you know, I want to get something in return first before I give something out.
Yeah, you know, there is still that, you know. This is what we call kedekut ilmu lah, you know, or something like that, you know. Yeah.
But these days, knowledge is free. You know, I don't need to ask you. I just Google.
Exactly. But somehow there's still people who you know, have that mentality lah. Like I mentioned, I just worked on to digress a little bit, you know, there is I just worked on a project where the producer was asked to sort of rearrange a piece of music that was done by another studio.
Oh no.
But the studio refused to give multi-tracks, even though whatever lah, because it's like, oh, you're giving my work away to another, so they only got like the mix, the stem to deal with. But I'm not sure why. There's some places who also where, if you record the vocal, you record your song here, you cannot take your track and send to other mixing engineer, must mix with me. There are some people who make those kind of rules.
I can understand in terms of business sense, because as a producer, I think about money as well. So we do have, of course, experience with people like, we already mixed this thing. Okay, we mixed the music with multi-tracks and everything. And then suddenly you want another studio to do it for a cheaper price, for example. In a way, it's a competition. And in some part, why we want to hold back is because we don't want to ruin the industry, for example, the rates. And often a lot of time is when we pass certain thing to another person, they screw up and we have to redo it again. And when we redo it again, we don't get money from it. Okay? It usually become like a favor, because if a project is lousy, I don't even want my name to be there, which I never put my name there. If I'm not proud of it, I will not put my name there.
Yeah.
So that I can understand. But also, like you say as well, it's like, why aren't you sharing?
Yep.
But so that would be like a two different point of view.
Correct. There's always...
Yeah. But more of like, in my terms of sharing is like your knowledge. If you are a successful producer or successful engineer, like now you have an intern, you are sharing your knowledge with your intern. You are teaching your intern how to mix, how to use the tools.
Yeah.
But I know people who will not like even guide the intern. You're not even sharing, you're not even giving opportunity to them. That kind of selfishness, I think it's too much.
There's no place for that sort of behavior and that attitude lah. It shouldn't be in the first place lah. Absolutely. Wow. I again reflecting on what you said, and looking back on my own personal experiences as well, I have to say I really enjoyed, like you see, like Liu, working with female engineers and female stagehands. Some of the best interns that I've had, earlier on were girls.
Yeah.
They were very, very thorough with their work, very, very detailed. So puts all the boys to shame, man. Some of the things, one of my part timer that actually helps me out, one of my assistants now, is a girl. It's a female, absolutely wonderful, wonderful girl that does the work really, really well. Yeah. For live shows, one of the assistants that's helped with a monitor, she's a girl as well. Like my band, when we do live shows, it's a girl, right? I remember a lot when I was in Japan, a lot of stage hands, a lot of stage crews were all girls.
Yes.
So,
you will notice a lot of
girls are...
especially stage managers are always a girl.
Yeah.
The crews are always a man, but the stage managers are usually a girl, because it takes a lot to memorize a lot of things and to, like I said,
organize
and if something happened, your reaction has to be fast. And somehow it is a quality within the female gender.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if it's because like we have the natural instinct to be a mother, to care for someone, to pay attention to certain things, so we have that kind of quality. And most of the time, I go into concerts and stuff, usually the organizers, the producers, the stage managers are usually female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, even back down here, best example, is our own Jennifer Thompson. Yeah. Shout out Jen. She's been on the podcast before. And one of my teachers as well. Yeah. So that's another best example as well. And we've got you too.
I wouldn't say I would be an engineer, but I think it's good to have not just females. These days the kids should be given more opportunity to do something. And I think we as the senior in the industry
Yeah.
should be in the position to give them that opportunity for them to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. I think, we could probably wrap up with, maybe I got one last question for you then. This is very generic kind of a question, but what would you be advise, what would your advice be to someone who's looking to, pursue audio as a career, or or somewhere in this related fields,
Related fields.
Yeah. If you could tell yourself 20, 30 years ago, 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
I don't want to date, I don't want to put the age to it. Yeah.
Well, if you ask me personally, I will still not change what I think about what I want to do. I will still choose back the same path.
Yeah.
And for me, the advice for people who is interested in audio, it would be a first question to ask yourself if this is something that you want to do, because it does take a lot of hard work and dedication and passion to go through it. It's not like a one-time thing to have fun with. It's not about glam or being famous. You are actually not going to get that. It's all your hard work being, for say, unrecognized by people. Okay, it's because you are basically in the background doing it. So first thing is to see that this is something that you want to do. And when you want to do it, don't be afraid to try. Okay, don't be afraid to try, because if you don't try, you will not get any opportunity or learn anything. Never be afraid to ask. Okay, because in this industry, apart from the technical knowledge that you learn, everything is through experience.
Yeah.
If you never ask, you will never learn. Always don't stop asking questions. And then right after that, it comes to a point that should you take up a formal education in audio, or should you just jump into the industry and learn from the scratch? I would say it's always best to have an education background. That way it eases you easier into the industry.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the basic knowledge. You know what's going on, what's new, what's trendy, what you should be doing. And then from there, you can path out a way that where you want to go and work for. And it's always best to get a practical first, which is like either internship or job. Instead of straight away opening up your own studio, for example. Because I think at the end of the day, when you go through the internship or you go through a job for a year, whatever you have learned from the job will bring you to another level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing. And yeah, I think that is the path first to think about. And it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
So good luck.
Good luck indeed. Yeah.
And to put it some way that if someone is not sure, okay, we have seniors like you, willing to talk to them and share ideas. Okay, of course, we have AES, Audio Engineering Society, International, and also Malaysia. We have a lot of resources.
All right. Yeah.
If you're unsure, ask. Ask, and you'll hopefully get some pointers for life.
All right, yeah. Just to get, AES stands for Audio Engineering Society. Yeah. And Michelle here is actually my predecessor, the one who I always look up to, because she actually held the position, right, of the chairperson of AES Malaysia before me. Yeah. So
I would say that I actually really, really thankful for AES, Audio Engineering Society. It was with them, like I had the education, right? But it was with AES. It took me to another level in my career. I joined it since 2003 during my last year of university and last year of college. and I met all these amazing industry professions, from broadcasting, from studio owners to live sound to all of these people. All these years, they've been sharing so much information with me, so much knowledge, and we are like, really close friends. Some of them, I even regard them like my brothers or my father, for example, because you guys helped me so much. And I learned so much from you guys. To me, especially for someone new or a student, being close to the industry profession, you are in the first hand of everything already. It's a good opportunity.
Yeah.
The networking alone will help you a lot as well.
Yeah. I would have to say that, because it's incredibly valuable for me as well.
Yeah.
To learn all these things. Yeah. And I'm very, really thankful for.
Yeah. I mean, we often work with each other anyway. So why not?
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's a good place to, to tie everything up, wrap everything up. Your story is really, really fascinating. How, you've pivoted throughout all the different areas. I'm sure we're all still learning. It's still part of the journey. And to let you know, even though we've been doing this for so long, we're all still learning lah.
We're still learning, especially with technology these days. What really caught my eye was basically I was taking out a short beginner's course on Python for music. That's how I understand. It's like, what? You don't need to be a musician these days to compose a song? You just need coding. Okay. That was fascinating. You never stop learning.
I've never looked into that, but that's actually really, really interesting.
Yeah.
It's incredible what can be done these days. Time to retire lah. Right?
I won't say retire lah, but time to pass on the baton to the new generation, and then we sit back and guide them.
Yes.
So in any case, if anyone wants to know more about AES Malaysia, you can go to Facebook and just search it out AES Malaysia, and you can get more information.
Thanks for plugging it. Thanks for plugging that. Yeah. How do people get in touch with you? Are you active on social media?
Yes, I am, but my social media is usually unrelated much to audio at the moment. It's to my second interest, which is basically food. So it's best to get in touch with me on my Instagram, Maison de Talent, MaisonDeTalent. You're able to find me there mostly. And from there, you can go to my other social media pages.
Yeah, I always loved that because that was your email, that was your social media handle.
Yeah, because I started with a brand, House of Talent.
Correct.
So
Maison de Talent. Yeah, that's really, really cool. All the best, Michelle, for everything.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad to be able to
thank you so much for having me here today.
Yeah, to be able to catch up with you back here. I think we'll catch up with you again to our, our upcoming meetings as well.
Definitely, you will see me there the next one.
Yeah, everyone missed you the last time. It was like, oh, Michelle out there. We were all like so sad and depressed.
It's always a joy to come to these kind of meetings, and it reminds me how much I still love audio, and I love to hear what's going on in the industry.
Okay, absolutely.
Well,
thanks,
see you
Michelle.
then.
See you again, and see all you folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.